Welcome to Fit Club Vegas, the ultimate fitness destination for visitors. Drop in for a day pass and experience our 10,000 square foot fitness playground. At Fit Club, you'll find state-of-the-art equipment and a sound system so good you'll pitch your headphones. Conveniently located 7 to 12 minutes from the Las Vegas Strip, Fit Club is a perfect spot for you to come get your pump while visiting Sin City. So come check us out at 4525 West Hacienda, Las Vegas, Nevada. Fit Club Vegas, more than a gym, it's a vibe.
Pacific West Injury Law. Injured? Call 602-HURT. Car accident? Call 602-HURT. Our firm is dedicated to you and your recovery.
Take two after Matt screwed up the audio.
Yes.
Where'd we start? Miami.
I was perfectly in the middle of my presentation, and now you have to do it again. So let's reverse it. Miami. I went to UFC, enjoyed my set fully. President Trump, for the first time as a president, came. Like I said before, he doesn't make appearance for some sporting event that he doesn't care for. He loves MMA, watches UFC, knows everybody. He can tell you anything about any submission, grappling, striking, anything. He has his favorites. I don't know who.
Who's his favorite, you think?
You know, there was between Masvidal and Covington, but then I'm sure that John Jones has to be. Well, they weren't mad because
What I'm wondering is, who is he a fan of? Not because obviously Masvidal and Covington are huge fans of him, yeah. But who is he fans of? Going, wow, that guy might not like me, but his skill levels. Khabib.
Oh, Khabib. Yes. Khabib. Who doesn't?
I think he put a post up or something with Khabib. Yeah, and he said how great
he is. Khabib is, I think, everybody's favorite.
How can't you like him?
Who?
How can't you like him?
How can you not like him, exactly? So anyway, I met Patrick Bet-David, which was a highlight because I followed him and listened to him, and he recognized me, which made my day.
Did he actually look at you and
look at me? And he said, "I know who you are," like this, right?
You knew you were back in like the VIP.
Yeah, I was there.
That doesn't surprise me though.
Eat back there.
The food was unbelievable. There was yeah. Then there the side of Santa, no. Oh yeah, steak and horseradish.
And who's hanging out back there? Like the Note Boys, everybody.
Shaquille O'Neal, I saw he was there.
Yeah, sure. Shaquille didn't come in. At least not at the time when I was, but yeah, everybody else.
That's why he wants to fight Aiden Ross right now.
Yeah,
like a whole thing right now. He's just Aiden Ross. So she's and him are like,
really?
Well, they had this whole thing. Shaq got kicked out of UFC because he was threatening Aiden Ross and all this.
Really?
You didn't see that?
No, I didn't know anything about it.
Shaquille was at the UFC. What do you know? Oh, yeah, I know they were kind of having words, I don't know, but who would want to fight Shaquille, man? Do you remember when he was boxing Shane Mosley?
Yeah, but Shane Mosley's like 3 feet tall.
Yeah, like his left leg. Yeah.
I remember years ago they were talking about that when Muhammad Ali wanted to fight I think it was either Wilt Chamberlain. I think it was Wilt Chamberlain. And his coach, he was like, I'll beat him. And his coach stood on a chair and grabbed 2 brooms and stood up and said, okay, try to come in. That's what it's going to be like because he's got a 11-foot wingspan.
Yeah, like Bruce Lee against Kareem Abdul-Jabbar in Game of Death.
Who would really win, though?
Bruce Lee, of course. Bruce Lee is uncatchable.
Patrick, though, I remember watching a lot of his interviews. He seems like he would 100% know you because he followed bodybuilding back then. He's the same age as I am. And he followed it then. And he wanted to be a bodybuilder when he was in like 2021.
I heard him with Ronnie and Sean. Who else was that? Phil Heath. Sorry, I understand that he followed the sport over.
Yeah.
I'm a top 10 Olympian. I'm not the top Olympian.
But if you followed the sport in the 90s and 2000s, you were in as many magazines as anyone, as probably more than anybody.
I was.
So the fact that he...
What's this movie now? Magazine something.
Who?
The bodybuilding movie.
Oh, yeah, with Michael Earns.
Yeah. Magazine what?
Something Dreams.
I'm not sure the name.
Dreams, yeah.
I saw he was doing something. Yeah.
Yeah. Danny Hassett was there, and he's Brian, and I think Michael Hearn.
Were they in the movie?
Yeah. I actually seen him. And he came by the other couple of seasons.
Danny was here. Yeah.
Yeah. He was in shape. I guess he was in top 5 posing with the main actor.
You're not going to go to wrestling this weekend in Vegas?
Wrestling? Is this your show? Is this your show this week?
Yeah, Saturday.
Are you going to his show?
Well, sure.
Why? Ditch it and go to see WWE.
It's on Sunday.
No, don't tell me you're going to. Hold on. You're going to watch the WWE?
No.
Okay, thank God. Okay.
I got an empty ticket, so.
He was about to lose it.
No, because you're not going to the UFC. Are you going to go to UFC Montreal?
Yes. I need to talk to him, too.
Are you?
Yeah.
He's there.
I'm there. Actually, you know what? I need to make sure that the show coincides and it's not running into the night, and I'll just go.
Oh, that would be great.
Okay, I think I'm there at an expo during the day, so I think I will go.
I'm booking the tickets. He's up today. I'm going now, especially my flight and stuff. So when are you going a few days early? Eh?
On Thursday or Friday. Come back Sunday.
Okay, and
I come right back.
Direct flight. There's only Air Canada.
It's LAX.
Okay, United.
Yeah.
Because Betty was just showing me tickets, and there was only Air Canada Direct.
It's Air Canada Rogue. It's like a low budget Air Canada. It says Rogue on the side of it. So like first class is like the seat in the middle is just blocked. We flew, remember, and they don't have TVs in it. They hand you an iPad and you hang it and it dangles in the seat.
I was in Montreal in January when it was minus 42 degrees Celsius, and I was going to cry. I'm serious. I've never been in the weather that.
Oh, it's undergoing, all right.
How is it going? But I'm going to tell him now I'm excited because, put me right next to Jay.
He sent me a picture last night. They were training. You were training late.
Yeah, that is. You gotta see the Hunter. Hunter was doing biceps curls, right? I said, "Who am I?" You know, you do the perfect Cutler impersonation. Yeah, like he was having a seizure.
Form King.
Form King.
Tell Hunter we still want him to come on the podcast.
Yeah, he's gonna hear it.
Does he listen to us? He doesn't have time to listen to the podcast.
Probably here and there. But what we're saying, I didn't know that Montreal has an underground city. You know that? Do you know that?
No.
We have an underground city here too.
I'm not the only idiot. You know, because I heard, so you Google it, they have a whole underground Montreal.
We have an underground city here too.
Yeah.
No, we do. There's like tens of
tunnels.
But there's like 10,000 people living underground.
Yeah, but there's nothing there, right?
No, it's
in Montreal. It's like whole
it's like
and all this. Like what?
Wow, I had no idea.
Because I had no idea about this. Like this futuristic stuff, like Antarctica something. Anyway.
Oh, yeah.
So tell me your thoughts on the FIBO show.
Okay. Immediately, of course, we didn't know that Andrew's going to compete against Chris Acida, didn't know. And then he had delayed visa issue, then he got approved and whatever. He showed up. So as soon as you hear Andrew Jack is competing, he's untouchable. I mean, I made some of those comments. There are certain guys that at the level that they have to be so off to lose, right? And if Andrew's going to be anything close to the contest shape, there's no amount of conditioning that can beat that kind of physique. So many guys, including Daniel James and a few others, saw Sasan winning. And I love Sasan. I really, I became a fan of him big time because he's the nicest guy. And he has the crazy, not Hadi conditioning, but Iranian conditioning. They're all peeled beyond belief. But he still goes in that category of a normal human that maximizes his potential, right? Andrew Jack is one of those freaks, genetics freaks, that has a height and size and width and shape. And this time he had a balance. His legs match his upper body, which he didn't have at Arnold. I think that Arnold, his legs came down too much. And you can afford this next to Samsung with the craziest legs, right? So I think that if legs of Andrew were on a classic stage, it would be a different story, that he would push both Derek and Samsung in that show. Here, conditioning alone, okay, let's look. what is first thing that you look in a physique? You should be balanced. Yeah. Balance, and that means upper, lower, front and back, everything. Shape. Yeah. If you have a beautiful shape, size. Okay. Bigger, better. And then with this is considered V-taper, X-frame and everything else, then condition. So if Sasan can beat Andrew in 1 out of 4, and Andrew is beating him in all the other ones, I don't see the argument. So a lot of people just, conditioning. It's not Mr. Conditioning, it's bodybuilding.
But you know why that is? Because for a while now, whoever had the most shredded glutes seemed like they always won, and they ignored everything else.
So I was making these kind of comments. Lee Haney and Ronnie Coleman, right? And I called them by Lee Haney's term Excalibur. Those are like superhumans that I would put them in that category. If they're in shape, nobody would beat them. And they had an 8th Olympia each, right? So that's Excalibur, something special. Doesn't matter if it was Lila Brida, Rich Gaspari, whoever was coming, Barry LeMay at the time. Lee Haney was in a league of his own. So come Ramy Coleman, right? When he was on top of his game, even you tried to knock him off like so many times, but he has that something special. Cedric McMillan was one of those guys, right? I said, these guys, and now like Andrew and Samson, if they're in top shape, like if they're in Harry Chopin shape, nobody can advertise them.
No.
Right? So, but because they are not, they open the door for guys, normal humans, that maybe have enough, like Derek Lunsford had enough to beat both Andrew and Samson. So it's not easy job for judges to determine. And the judges, after prejudging, had Sasan winning. You know that? So
yeah, he was winning. No, he was winning before prejudging. After prejudging, Sasan was ahead.
So that means if qualified judges from IDB, and there's nobody more qualified than Tyler, and say like, look, Andrew, yes, you are Excalibur and all that stuff, but you didn't bring the conditioning, and you could be penalized. So some people believe that if you don't bring it, you should be penalized because they don't want to allow that. But then what did Andrew had to do for the finals? Okay. So that's what we talk about is you have a few hours and you need to be dramatically drier. Give me ways how you can get drier in a few hours. And I know that I listened to you back in the day once when you were saying about this carbohydrates, when you take the carbs and you don't drink and then the carbs are going to pull under the skin. That was your explanation in one of the shows that you did, as you didn't drink, but you had all these carbs, so carbs would have to pull the water to be stored as a glycogen. In theory, that sounds beautiful, right? Oh, how nice. But the guy is already carved up for the show, and those carbs didn't pull the water. So now in the thing prejudging and finals, the only way to get drier, we all know that was the way. So that's encouraging dangerous methods, so I don't know how to feel about that.
How do you feel?
We don't know what he did. First said he had fries.
Yeah. Yeah.
Sodium.
Yeah. Yeah. With the Santa Claus, both of them, they were putting a lot of ketchup on it. Yeah, no, I get the picture from it. No, I mean, I'm serious, because sometimes, coaches are going to be pointed out like, okay, you need to bring him drier. Okay. Can you whisper to me, the method of drying in this 2 hours?
Dandelion root tea.
Yeah, exactly. Move earthy and
that's what I take when I fly.
Yeah. I could give you that as a anyway, so for me there was no question who is winning, but at the finals Andrew really came considerably better, or considerably drier. And I mean I thought you have a Giddy approach. Mm-hmm. So that's that question as we're going to be watching. Was Andrew, prejudging, holding a little bit more water to different bodybuilder. In those three aspects of a balance, of a size, of a shape, he was still beating Sasan.
You think Sasan should be disappointed?
No, I think Sasan is delighted that he made such a huge mark. And, it's like in a soccer game after halftime, he was winning. He just ended.
He was winning against the top 5 guy in the world.
Against the freak. Like, that's the absolute freak. And this was probably biggest version of, probably the biggest version.
He was big.
Yeah, you see, so when I talk about these Excalibur shoulders, so yeah, I do want to say about this when Jay was coming, right? So Jay doesn't have that shape and structure of those superhumans, but you had a size and a balance, and then your size and the conditioning. So your combination, just like that 2006 Dutch Grand Prix that I just posted, that would be impossible to beat. That's Jay 2006 would be probably impossible to beat in this year's Olympic. Anyway, here it is.
Hey guys, Jay Cutler here. If you have not heard already, I launched my own TRT clinic. TRT Kingdom is now live. If you guys want to schedule your consultation, please click the link below and you'll get all the information you guys need for better health.
Top 4. Sasan's conditioning, definitely superior. The German guy, Justin, has super good conditioning too.
He might have been the most conditioned in the whole show.
I think Sasan was maybe
pretty close.
Yeah, you can't really see here, but
because Justin's a little bigger.
So this picture was already good. It was actually surprising, but it doesn't get any better than Andrew Jack and Trundle biceps. You tell me. X frame, V tapered, small waist, tapered in, quads flaring and separated, biceps peaking, triceps hanging.
You surprised at Sergio's leg size?
Yeah, Sergio improved legs from every angle, every aspect. Separation, lateralis, hamstring, gluteus, everything was there. If you would look Sergio's legs, you would think like this is the best Sergio that ever was, right? But upper body was not maybe as dominant as few times I would see before. So sound perfect. But once again, like I say, when I mentioned that I don't think that Sasan was winning after prejudging, it's in my view of bodybuilding. But do I put my stamp of approval? This is crazy conditioning? Absolutely.
But people that were there said he should have won.
On the basis, James. Yeah, he thought so. But then that's the basis. They're just comparing condition. And you mentioned this yourself.
It's a bodybuilding show. Conditioning is just one aspect. But if you look at there, Andrew's the biggest. He's got the best symmetry, the best proportion, the best balance. It's hard to, you can't help it that a guy has all the tools, that he doesn't necessarily have to be in the best shape. Samson is he's in the same boat. He doesn't have to be the most conditioned guy. He won the Olympia not being the most conditioned guy. You could argue he was the least conditioned in the top 10, and he still won because he has gifts that other people don't have. And it's just the way sports go.
I do think that Andrew has the ability to be drier and more ripped, as he did the Abdominal 2023. And with this size and those cuts, then he gets in conversation to
battling for the title
with Hadi and Derek and Samson. Sergio looks good in this pose, most definitely. I think he improved the abs, flatter stomach, deeper abs. That's for sure. For me, he looked flattish, and with this structure, I do think that Sergio has to be a big Sergio. You can be a big here, but he's still too. Yeah.
These are going to go around. They're going to.
How do we go from a friend double?
They're not going to be.
Okay.
They're not going to be in correct order. I just found whatever footage I could get.
Yeah.
There was no stream.
Andrew looks pretty good here, guys.
Was right. You know? Okay, so could he be a little bit more razor sharp, dry for Olympia? He would need to be. It's still bothering. I mean, it's hard.
It is for years with Samson.
Yeah, exactly. That feather is right there. Look at the deep separation in the quads.
Is this a night show or
Night show. Yeah, I think red posing trunks for night. As a sound, most perfect ab shot too. Yeah, look at the quads, feathered, medialis lateralis. Andrew has just lateralis that is feathered. You had both. You had actual four.
Yeah, so let me ask you a question, Milos. Looking at Andrew, let's separate Andrew out of this because he did wear his rank best and qualify. Can he battle the Olympia? Or are they still going to say that he's slender?
Okay. Here he's absolutely not slender, right? At Arnold,
You're gonna put the next.
yeah, next to the guy is
Compact.
I
And,
promise you this because I analyzed it. Just because his legs were visibly down at the Arnold Classic, he created a disbalance and then he looked slender. But
We say that lightly. I don't want to say that. Well, it's using a term because
yeah,
they keep saying like he's not big enough, which is ridiculous. But I get it. I understand. We're not like I understand. Just comparable to the more like a Lunsford who's the compact and Samson who listen. We sit here and say he's just got crazy muscle density.
yes.
Andrew didn't have the density. I should say more density. Does he have more density here that he's ever had, or can you start comparing like Texas pros and
You see, he's not bone dry, and you've been at the level of bone dry. So I mean,
pounds off his year?
probably 6, 7, 8. Probably to be that bone dry, to be a
So is that gonna
well,
lose the density?
yes, and the size and volume, and that's what happened with the Arnold Classic. Because I was there watching, like Hadi. Hadi was get next level lean, so there's skinless, and then he would go next level dry, like a desert, what he was talking about. So when you have a super lean, thin skin and a dryness, then it appears more. Hadi doesn't have a feathers like Andrew Jack.
Where did Justin come from?
Germany, and I think
I'm asking where he's been. Wait, have we seen him in the shows?
I actually did not notice him before. Dennis was saying that he made a huge improvements in the last couple of years.
I don't remember.
And it's like, probably one of the best German bodybuilders at this time.
Looks a little bit like Sherlock, doesn't he?
Did you look? Well, I mean, he actually impressed me here in these pictures much more than what I've seen on the video.
How about Andrew's front lat spread in this picture?
Front double and lat spread is absolutely worthless.
Why does he spike the leg like this?
That's his new version. Why anybody put the leg like this to make that leg look bigger? And if he was criticized for,
Remind you of it?
no,
What do you mean?
Rolly Winkler did this.
Yeah, Phil always did, yeah.
Phil,
Yeah.
I mean,
I even think of that, yeah.
Phil Heath, really?
Yeah, he always did that.
I mean,
And he didn't need help with his legs.
he didn't need
It's more hairy, bigger X, I mean, look at Sergio here, guys. Like, he's wide. I mean, you see him every day in the gym.
So, Andrew, this is close to perfection. I mean, I'm dead serious. This is close to perfection. Waist cannot be smaller. Lats puffed out, shoulders wide, arms, legs, everything. Holy hell. Sasan, beautiful. Like I said, everything is there. He did maximum, but he just doesn't have a frame to be compared to the freak. Sergio, but when he goes in this pose, it's a little bit flattish.
Yeah, and he was a little flat.
Flattish, I mean, that's that thing.
Poses more than
Still improved. Improved very much. Structure is there. Posing is great. Lays phenomenal. And so is Justin. Justin, I mentioned to somebody, Abdullah, coach, was saying how Justin can be top 5 Olympian, right? And I mentioned that I don't think so. And then I would maybe sound negative about it. I just know what top 5 Olympia means, right? Guy is great, has everything, crazy condition, right? But to be top 5 at Olympia, you have to have that extra something.
Yep.
We talk about,
There's a lot of killers.
we talk about 19. Just think about you when you were coming into 90s. You were coming to era of 90s. You came 95, 96, right? That's the time there was Sean never won the Olympia, Kevin never won the Olympia, Flex never won the Olympia,
Nasser.
Cutler, Cormier, Paul, Lee, right? This is what I'm talking
There's
about.
another guy.
Yeah.
Milos.
Oh, there. Yeah. That was his kryptonite. It was Dylan. Hello, guys. Yeah, I mean, yeah. How can you forget Vince? So, last few Olympias, when you think about Brandon Curry, Andrew Jack, Nick Walker squeeze in, beating Big Ramy. I mean, top 5 at Olympia, that's like almost unachievable.
This year's Olympia, there's going to be a big name that's not going to make the top 5 because it's going to be so competitive.
Yeah, it has to be.
Somebody that we could think could potentially win one day might not make the top 5 this year.
It's different mentality, and I want to use Jay for it. Lee Haney said, like, how can you go to Olympia and prepare not to win, right? I was preparing for the Olympia never to win. I was just, trying to be there, one of the guys, because I knew my limits. But he didn't know the limits, and he went all the way, and he ended up winning 4 times. Super impressive. But most of the people, Olympia is pinnacle of the sport. And if you're top 10, you're top 10 in the world, right? And that would be more than supposed to.
You could win? No. Yeah, and a lot of people around me that, Joe told me, and Chris FIBO told me, and Ed Connors told me, and
You had the tools.
I had the mindset.
Had a mindset. I mean,
They call you the mind, but I had like the work ethic of and the belief, I think, and maybe you just didn't. I mean, listen, that does not say maybe you were a realist about your potential. You weren't a mass monster, and I came in a mass monster era, and I was a mass monster. So
yeah,
I wasn't going to win by being pretty. I mean, I can't stop looking at this Andrew Joe.
yeah. I mean,
This is really on the screen, or
this is.
well, let's see another pose though.
That's
Pretty crazy. Gosh, you look at him compared to everybody else in that.
Yeah. So how can you say that he can possibly lose the show, right? I mean, that's what I'm saying. With all due respect to,
I don't know if the lighting was spectacular though.
Yeah, from what they said, the lighting from prejudging a night was completely different.
Because he needs to be tighter, definitely in the lower body, and
so that's his downfall. That they're not going to say, can he ever win the Olympia with a hamstring looser?
Well, he wasn't 100% there, so the answer is no.
For Andrew, there's listening, of course, there is a lot of, just like we talk about, I was never told I can win the Olympia. You were told by a few believers, and you accomplished this. There are many believers in Andrew Jack being capable of winning the Olympia.
I don't think there's somebody who doesn't believe he can win.
There is a couple of them. I mean, I could tell you, like Sean Ray.
He doesn't think he can win the Olympia.
He says, like, yeah, if he didn't get the hamstrings by now, he's not going to get them now, right?
That's a point though.
But so if you have,
Sean speaks where people criticize what he says, but
He is an eye.
it makes a lot of sense. A lot of stuff I say. He does. I'm not sitting here defending anyone, but everyone's entitled to an opinion, and you do run out of certain, it's like the big Ramy effect. I mean, how long from 2013 forward did it take for him to win? People had kind of is he ever going to put it together? In 17, he pushed Phil to the limit.
there 8 second.
What,
18 didn't.
I mean, I don't know. It's just, to me,
He has the tools.
he sure does. But
Whether it happens,
it's very hard to have those tools, guys, against a Derek Lunsford.
Yeah.
Because that guy from behind is just dimensions above everyone.
and we just saw Derek this weekend.
Yeah.
He's see him big. He stood right next to him.
I know, I've seen that.
No, but
You want the pose down. You want the pose down.
no, he would.
Derek's
He's a
big and
little-
round.
He may honestly at this Pittsburgh show set a new standard to what people's expectations are.
Yeah. Yeah, he's the front runner, that's for sure. But a couple of things. When I say about Sean Ray, I respect his opinion. He's knowledgeable and he speaks his mind. Bob Chicarilla also, when you listen to him, he is usually spot on, right? And not afraid to express his opinion. So for me, seeing Andrew up close and I said, the legs look big. I mean, look at the size of those legs from the same. It's okay, not the biggest legs ever, but he has a lot of meat.
They match his upper body.
Yeah. So until Olympia, I would focus on those legs, like crazy, and maybe improve the back a little bit. Because in most of the upper body shots, he could have beat Samson in our classic, right? German guy, I'm shocked to see how peeled he is in mirror. He is shredded, yes. So Justin, I didn't notice this before. Now I see it. You're under a good light here. Yeah, it's very, very impressive.
But were you talking shit? Or?
No, I just didn't. I mean, I just didn't notice that he is that good condition. Now, when you raise issues, or maybe he was even better condition as Sasan. Sasan was in.
That's what I said. I mean,
Incredible condition.
I talked to a lot of people that told me he was, and we weren't in the house for this.
Yeah. And look at the hamstring glutathione for.
What about Sergio?
Yeah.
Talk about Sergio.
That's what I'm saying. Sergio, great calves, even though he didn't lock it, because it's not that diamond razor sharp. Hamstring off the chart. Glutathione off the chart. Yeah.
I mean, Sashan's probably kind of the bodybuilder of the year right now with the come up. I mean, he's kind of came out of.
He's going to be super competitive. He can very well qualify for Olympia, right? And, be a top 10 contender. And I don't say this as an insult because I was top 10 contender like 3 times. And that's my biggest accomplishment.
Like a Andrew. Insane.
Yeah, I mean, this is not the best.
It's not the best
picture, but yeah. Andrew, you see the fullness, you see the tightness, separation, striations on the chest. Good. He has great abs. He maybe wasn't super short, but it was close to it. So, I mean, what would you rate this? 85% of the 90%.
Did you ever attend a FIBO when they had a bodybuilding show there?
Yeah. What year? 2012. I think the one.
Cedric won the last one.
Yeah.
I think it was 14.
Johnny Jackson beat Baito, the Iranian guy. Yeah. As far as I remember.
Yeah. But was this, they didn't have a bodybuilding show back in the day when you guys were out there?
Oh,
Was it there?
Remember they had that famous guest pose with Dorian and Nasser and Victor Richards?
I was on that stage with them, and Cormier and all these boxing and gloves and his. Not that time.
Holyfield.
Yeah. Not that time. This time, Victor Richards was there and Paul Dillette and Dorian, and it was ridiculous. Yeah. And there was like 15, 20 leader athletes at one time. Landon Murray was there and Juliet Bergman. Yeah. I look like a man's physique guy. I just wish I knew about the shorts. So how are the shorts into the men's physique?
Milos.
I would set a new standard. Yeah. So.
All right, we'll get to the next pose.
I think you showed that abstract already once.
No, so it was like a side with the beginning. I can keep going.
No, it's good. It's good. Everybody looks good, actually. I mean, it's
Good top 4.
It's rare to see a 6-pack like this, and all the competitors usually abs are forgotten muscle and not too many.
What's Sasana need to do? Nothing.
Sasana, I mean, he should try to widen himself up a little bit,
Like, I mean, now the next couple shows.
Just come like this. And I mean, if he can open up the rib cage. I don't know.
Sergio, what's Sergio do?
Sergio needs to get a little bit filled up. So condition is there, skinless, boneless, chicken breast. So he has everything. He's really in condition. He just needs to now fill up that empty glycogen space in the muscle that
Do you think
he let to me his rib was flat.
He was being conservative, just trying to come in crazy.
He was weighing against Sasan. And Sasan is known for condition. So he probably told Stefan, just get peeled and dry, and I don't care because he was bigger, he was wider than Sasan, so I could see that game plan, not counting on Andrew. But Sasan, I mean, look at this abs, look at the quads, phenomenal. Side poses, Sasan is excellent. Striated chest and most muscle. I know that Sergio is delighted about his ab shot. Okay, here. I don't know. Sasan and Justin for conditioning are very, very comparable. Yeah.
Yo, Justin's lower body is.
Yeah, that's ridiculous. Wow. Yeah.
Not blown away by anyone in the rear double bicep here, but.
Yeah. So when you look at Andrew, can this be top 3 Olympia? You can't.
Not that condition, no.
Not in that condition, right? So that's that one thing that I'm sure he's aware of.
Look at Andrew's arms compared to both guys around.
It's interesting. He pronated, not supinated. This first time I've seen that. You see?
Yeah.
Have you ever seen this in a big double biceps? I didn't.
I wonder why.
That's the first time I see it. Sergio, he has a structure and it looked empty, right? Lower leg extortions, and just, yeah. I was saying he looked to me a little bit catabolic. He went a little bit too far, and then probably tried to bring it back, and sometimes this doesn't work. Especially when you're limited with water, when you're carbing up and you can't just go crazy. The thing that you were explaining that carbs would pull the water. If you don't have enough water, nothing's going to be pulled into the muscle, right? Side triceps, well, they criticized maybe Andrew before for side triceps. I think he's phenomenal, Justin looks excellent here too. Yeah. And Sasan is doing a Jay Cutler version. Yeah?
Yeah.
He can get that shoulder all the way back in.
Yeah. You see, I think that Sasan could have the intercostals and serratus if
he might have. I mean, obviously, it's a still shot. He may have.
Yeah. Crazy. Look at his abdominal control. And look at the hanging hamstring, too. And Sergio, phenomenal legs. Yeah, Sergio just needed that chest to pop.
Yeah. A little more pop. He'll get it.
Back. I love the resemblance to his father.
Yeah.
I love it. Yeah, and
it's just look at Justin's leg.
Yeah, I must say that I'm very impressed with Justin, and I maybe kind of didn't favor him in other podcasts I just did with Dennis. I see here much more than I've ever seen in those videos. Side chest of Andrew. I think it's phenomenal. You remember that was one of the poses that maybe we didn't see the size in that shot. I think the size and shape and lines, everything is super visible. That's the top side chest. You think so?
Yeah. No, I think Andrew showed the whole world that if he was in a little bit better condition, he's going to be a problem at the Olympia, because the legs look like they're up. He round full, just a little bit better conditioning, and he's going to be a problem. And it, like you said, at the Arnold, his legs were down a little bit, maybe over dieted, or I don't know. But now when his legs are full like this, some of these shots are as good as anyone in the world. It was it's been a while since Sergio's been on stage. Obviously, he battled with probably one of the best Sasans and one of the top 5 guys in the world.
Sasan, like I said, he did most from his physique that he has, and he looks great for Sasan. comparing to some other guys there, he can lose this shot because of the other attributes. Sergio hit the post correctly, so his body is in a good position, but muscle is not there to look dominant, full round popping, right? So you leave desired for the fullness of the chest and shoulder, arms popping, right? So here is that sign that he was maybe over dieted, maybe catabolic, and didn't refresh.
If you were Sergio's coach, where would you have him do next? What would you say?
Probably California or something. I don't think it makes sense to do the Pittsburgh or New York because lineup is going to be crazy, right? And those guys are going to shoot the billets over there, right? And they're not going to go to the probably California. And I don't know what is.
California is just up the road.
Yeah. And another show.
Right after California is Reno.
Reno, okay. So those two shows would be ideal for.
What about Sasan?
Sasan,
would you have him come here or do European shows?
He's going to do the Spain and then Dubai. Yeah.
Which is good. It's much closer than coming over here.
I mean, when you look like this, right? You see, for you, placings meant a lot. For me, it really didn't. So for me, it was being on the stage with the guys having another shot. Like I said, I was going to European Grand Prix Tour and didn't make a top 5, 7 shows. It didn't make any money. I loved it. So, no, I loved it. So who cares where I placed? Sasan is enjoying himself on the stage and he's in top condition. He gained love and the respect of everybody.
Of course. You got talking about him.
Yeah. How can you not? So next time he competes, even if he shows up at...
he's going to get a look.
Of course. And be competitive and compared. He beat Andrew Jack after prejudging with the qualified judges. What else do you need to know? So can he peak repeatedly? That's that one question, right? Did you ever peak like for 3 parts of a calendar year? Like when you did the Ironman and Arnold Classic, I would call that one part because it's weak.
Yeah, I mean, 2003, I did, Ironman, Arnold, San Francisco, and then I did the Olympia at the end of the year.
Yeah, but San Francisco was week after it was very close.
Yeah.
So that's like,
no, I never went in the mid shows, and then obviously went to Olympia, and then Lonnie showed up like complete freak, And I went after we went to
Russia,
yeah. So
it was another show.
Russia, and I think it Dutch again. I think it was Holland or something.
Correct. Yeah, they
said 2 or something.
Yeah. Yeah. England.
Yeah, England. You're right. Yeah. Because I used, you know what I used in England? What was the shit? Dream Tan. And they because it's allowed, it was allowed there, but it wasn't allowed here. You remember?
Yeah. Is that the one when you try to bring a bunch back?
No. It was like a bunch. It was like muddy though, but it like makes you look like a stat. It makes you look like the Niels Anderson, But it was like it was thick on my skin a little bit, but it still, I was able to win there.
But my point is, and I have no clue, can Chris Aceto and Derek bring 3 times? I
don't think Derek. I think because he's fresh, and I think he's growing right now. Yes. Because I think the bigger Derek gets right now, the more dangerous he is. You know what's going to be the most shocking? And I mark my words, okay? His legs.
Good.
His legs at this Pittsburgh.
Yeah.
Yes. It's going to be, the off-season legs that we saw.
Yeah.
You're going to see, they're going to see that in Pittsburgh.
Yeah. Listen, he shocked me and he shut me up completely at the opposite.
Yeah, but we still didn't see it. To where his legs a little light still. Yeah. But you're going to see that now. We talk about Jack. I think his legs are going to be.
I watch Derek train, and you can see the legs, and he trains very intensely, and he puts on the quads. Like you and I sometimes analyze some videos and say, "Look at this guy, look at this guy." Yeah.
We don't name names.
But Derek puts in the quads, and he works hard, so you can see these potential.
Trains hard.
Yeah.
You know what I'm going to do right now? I'm going to do something here. I'm going to freak Milos out. And I know he's going to want access to this, but he can't have it.
Yeah. You should. I mean, come on. You're not going to post this.
Not yet.
You should.
I will.
You should post this as a email.
It's my FIBO picture. I'm gonna wait because some footage got done of those two.
Can I talk about what I saw?
No, you can. They're not going to see it yet. But Phil and Jay decided to go have a pose down, and we filmed it. And it's gonna show up. I'm assuming on Phil's YouTube.
Can I be a judge? Let me put it on the screen. I can.
No, I'm not gonna. But I'll let you do this. Look at this.
Ridiculous. Him. Right?
Yeah. We joked with him and said, listen, he could diet for a year and he might be able to win the Olympia still.
Look, Phil had that nose muscular that I would bet my life it was Photoshop.
Fake, yeah.
And then I realized it might not be. And I would bet my life, at gym in California, the Old Vernors. No. Sorry. My favorite gym.
What's the name of the gym? What that you trained at?
Yeah.
That I saw you training that.
Yeah, yellow. Yeah, yellow. I mean, it's crazy.
Yeah, I saw you there.
Yeah. I'm like, those guys are gonna hate me.
They just opened up their second location.
Yes.
Both of you guys don't remember it.
61 years old. So I'm forgiven.
What your brains were.
Fit Nation, yes. Guys, I'm just old.
Oh, we're making this a reel.
Listen, they had it, please cut the part. They had a black and white
at Pim.
Yeah.
And it looks like that's Photoshop, right? He looks like that. That's impossible.
It's real.
Yeah, it's real.
So I can see now, this is now. And then
no shot. There's no shot.
He's not coming back.
But
He looks crazy.
I was pretty shocked because he's not like me. I'm training.
Yeah. Everybody, he does a clean up.
I did come home though, and Angie, I walked over this morning with my shirt off, and she goes, "Did you lose weight on the trip?" And I said, "Yeah, probably, because we didn't eat."
Yeah, we didn't eat or
okay, and whatever. She's, "Go weigh yourself." 228.
Oh yeah.
You know what's funny though? So they trained, and then we go in the room like, hey, let's go in the posing room. And I got the whole thing of them posing. And then Jay's like, take your shirt off. He's like, no. And finally he did. We're like, holy fuck, man.
He said, I'll take my shirt off if Jay takes his shirt off. And, I'm like, whatever. I don't care. I'll people.
Hey, it's hard to convince fish to go into the water, huh? I'll do it. Who knows?
No, but I'm assuming it'll come out on his YouTube soon. But we had an actual professional photographer taking shots of them too. This was just my cell phone.
Yeah, focus meteor.
I mean, what's the body fat level? 4%. He's always there.
I'm lean in certain areas, but my lats are gone and the legs aren't what they used to be. But the thing is, and you can ask Matt, one thing about us, we were so dedicated with training and getting, on the program there. We didn't miss one day. We trained all days, right? All 7 days.
Yeah, no, we trained every day.
What do you mean he trained and you probably
trained actually.
3 sets of bicep.
Cormier was trying to challenge me.
Yeah, Cormier challenged him. So Cormier was on a leg press and Jay was on a hack squat, and Cormier's like, all right, let's see who can go rep for rep and see who can stop first.
But Cormier pressing his hands.
Yeah.
I just stopped because I don't want to challenge anyone to any stuff. I'm trying to walk because I had to still stand the next day.
You lost to the 60-year-old Chris Cormier. There's not even wrong.
Oh, but
there was a bunch of Nexzilla was there.
Nexzilla was there.
Yeah, I've seen that.
Breon.
But it was a great show. I'm always surprised at the young kids. I mentioned that year.
It's just so busy, man.
Barry DeMay came to see me.
Oh, yeah. The picture. Yeah,
Tony came over to see me, and it was great to see him. I didn't get to see Marcus Ruhl. I was a little disappointed because usually I get to see him.
He was downstairs. We didn't see a lot of people, though.
I mean,
we saw Hani from a distance, and we saw him in the gym the next day.
Andre Dewey was across from the way.
Larry Leals came to see me.
Yep, he came.
Who else came up to the
But we didn't see Ronnie.
No.
We didn't see...
But Ronnie was in FIBO.
Ronnie was there, yep.
Okay, so let me just get this right. Phil was there.
Yep.
Okay. Derek was there.
Yep.
Jay was there.
Lee Haney was there.
Haney was there.
Brandon Curry was there.
And Big Ramy.
Big Ramy, 6 Mr. Olympia.
And Derek Lunsford, 7.
7.
7 Mr. Olympias were in one building.
Yeah. So
That's even more than.
how come you guys didn't? Was Dorian Yates there?
No, I didn't see Dorian. Maybe he was.
Take some picture together.
Well, you remember FIBO's massive. Getting everyone has schedules and
You can't walk.
you can't move.
Well,
Yeah.
That was just the Open Olympia winners. I mean, there's 212 and Clarita was there, and who else do we see?
Did they have some streamer there? Very famous. He's like a billionaire.
Some YouTube screaming on YouTube. He was standing next to us for a bit.
Yeah. He's a billionaire for years.
It was just so like, I walked over to the other side to go see the new tech booth, and I run into Bodybuilder over there. It takes 20 minutes to walk to the other side. And that's not an exaggeration. 20 minutes.
Yeah, long ago, long ago. I think.
If you went now, it's
maybe
way
next year,
busier.
maybe I shared the plan to.
I think it's like the 16th or the 19th next.
Next year, yeah. It's worth going.
But FIBO treats us so well.
Yeah. We're already booked for next year.
I stopped in Orpington Muscle.
And John, we were talking a lot about you. So big shout out to John because it loves you.
Yeah.
Like we talked about us then training. Yeah, he's a great guy. Took such good care of us, man. Like, he's been asking me. I had dinner with him at the Olympia when he came last year. And he's hit me every time. Like he sees, like, he's like, hey, can you come over? So I said to Matt, we already had booked to go. And so John had hit me, hey, any chance to come over? And so I'm like, Matt, can you kind of reroute us, And Matt was like, okay, we'll go on Monday, on the way back, and then we'll come home Tuesday. And then, because obviously it's a busy week, he wanted to have it on Tuesday night. So we ended up landing on Monday. Then we went and trained, and he put us in like really beautiful hotel, took us out to eat that night. And then we get to hang, I got to train with him 2 days, but we talked a lot about you and, you're a trainer and it's so personal. Yeah. He's a great guy. Great guy. I love it. And he's in there. No, he's got a lot of new stuff, like old school, and he's got the upstairs, which when I went in 2018, it wasn't there. And
It's like 3 stories.
Yeah, we had a crazy turnout. Like there was a lot of people that came, and the seminar was great. I texted him this morning too and said, super hardcore. Yeah. And they trained a couple of days, but it was good. It was good to see him. And what we draw along.
You know what they have there, and we need to have you posted. They have 250-pound Ivanko, 250-pound dumbbells. Not each one.
He said Luke Sanders.
Luke Sanders. I was there, and you mentioned Luke. I seen a little post. Yeah, last couple of times I went there, and especially last time, I actually posed with Luke for like about half an hour. He gave me a chance to correct all his posings and stuff. And I watched him. He trained at bench out, and that was the time that I don't know. I had to be myself. I watched them super intense, and then in between sets, he'd take the phone and all these shit. So that was him training for Olympia and all that stuff. And I had to be myself. I can unsee it. I saw it and I go, so like, listen, man, what are you doing? Because having a phone on the gym floor. Because if you're all in it, you guys are going to get super heavy shit in the seminar. But yeah, you have a super heavy shit that you're doing. And then from that mindset, now you're going to go to the what? The Instagram or girlfriend or what? And reset your mind and forget about what we do. I said, gym has no business on the gym floor.
Isn't it crazy that the biggest change in today's society is, and listen, I'm victim of this too, because I want to film what I do sometimes. It's social media. But the phones, I mean, it's like you can't, because the workout's supposed to be a sanctuary of like blankness, meaning like you don't think about this stuff. Okay? You think about what's in front of you. That's what was great about the weight training. That's what we fell in love with. But today, it's impossible. Your brain is just scattered with thoughts and processes because in between the sets, you're picking up the phone, and whether you're looking at social, responding to a text, answering an email, or just visually like watching the news or whatever else, your mind isn't in that way.
Can you make a legal decision of the gym owner that says you cannot bring the gym floor? You can't bring.
Well, you can't make it legal, but you can make it a policy.
Policies like policy abuse, or you have to wear clothing.
No shoe.
Yeah, but you have to bring a gym towel. It's a law. It's a rule.
I was in Amsterdam.
Of course you could. It's your gym.
Amsterdam in the bar. in a cafe bar.
Sure. We know where you were.
I mean, that was the middle of the day.
What the hell does that have to do with anything?
But listen, in this bar, they do not allow you to use your phone.
Yeah, I've seen that.
Can't, you know,
Just celebrity places. They
talk to each other. Don't look.
Yeah,
at
I've seen those signs. We don't have Wi-Fi. Be like in the 90s and talk to each other.
Yeah, actually,
You're talking to a guy that lives on his phone.
I know, of course. Even though he doesn't turn the phone, the recognition that he received the message. Because every time I send him the message, I know but he doesn't respond.
I just gave him my phone at the beginning of the day. I said, he needs you want? I said, no, I don't care about the phone. It's cute. But who's going to be contacting me over here and what's at Horton right now? Somehow he found someone to talk to the whole time, though. He took a lot of my videos, though.
Sid Faruqi was there. So he was there. You know who else saw us in the UK? James Hollingshead drove 3 hours to come spend time and have dinner.
He's supposed to be at the podcast, but he says, no, I told Jay I'm coming to Arlington.
Yes.
And then
he drove 3 hours to come see, and then we had dinner and he drove back. When he comes to Olympia, we want to put him on the podcast.
Some of the questions in the second
and stuff.
Yeah. Wait, what kind of question was that?
They're having a child thing.
Yes.
Beautiful.
He asked about what I thought about the mentality, of not wanting to push beyond now. It's basically people train like pussies. Like what I thought about that. Like why doesn't people don't want to exert themselves and do the hard things? And because, he's the hardcore trainer. And I said, well, I mean, it's just, this society's turned into kind of
you never went for the failure, right?
No, but I still train.
Yeah, right in testing, but that's the difference, I do say it's danger in failing, trying to reach, going for that all out. So let me do it until I can't do no longer, because.
What do you think the maximum allowance is on the hack squat with plates per side?
The flex equipment, 10 plates was easy. I was doing this routinely with the 10 plates on each side. But like Pilates or Icarian, you put 5 plates in this, you can't move them. So that all depends. If they make,
it's crazy. The flex. If you ever watched someone with a lot of weight, it's a platform where
this is my favorite. I was always the way. It was with 10 plates, I promise.
And you blew your knees out.
Yeah. But I was doing this routinely.
But that's what you blew your knees out?
Yeah. Because he says, yeah. And I promise you, I was doing the super slow control, not the bouncing on.
Where's there?
My tear? I think I told you. It was zero pain. Okay, zero. And I started knocking, but as you're looking down, right? And I just felt like, somebody cut it on there, just rolled up. And I collapsed. And, you would think, now is dramatic situation and all that. Expecting a pain, there was zero pain, but, all 4 slides were patella tendon was completely exploded. So, I could not lift the leg. Zero pain. Roll. And the next day, it was falling crazy, but the thing is, the blood did not come in the front, it went all the way to the back. So there was nothing, you could see there from the front of the storm. But it really rolled up, but you could see there's
amazing. You still train I give you a lot of credit.
Milos still trains heavy.
I know Radner Lehan. It happened to him. You saw he squatted and tore the legs.
The kid, good looking dude here locally. He trains Brandon Fleeham. Could if I say it. Yeah, he's the local guy here, and I'm sorry that no idea him, but I couldn't talk to you about because he's Tories.
Biceps, patella tendon, or
I'm not sure which one it was, but let me ask you a question before we wrap this thing. Are we done or
no? You have one more thing to say, man.
Nick Walker.
Yeah,
are you impressed?
Yeah,
he's getting a lot. I'm very disappointed because he's getting a lot of pushback. When we always talk about his confidence is not arrogance. And he basically, I feel like they kind of twist it. Like, he's like, I don't care who's coming. Like, he's saying, I respect all those guys. They're great bodybuilders, but the package I'm bringing, the confidence I have, I think I'm going to win. And that's how I'm reading it. I don't know if you've read it any different.
I don't think he's being arrogant with it. You know why? Because he's not down talking anyone else. He's just talking about himself. That's the.
Do you think the Martin-Vic Walker battle, who do you think is going to be on the outcome now?
Okay, so first, there is a thin line between confidence and arrogance. And I don't think anybody likes arrogant people. Anybody. Okay.
Is there someone that's arrogant that you can name?
A little bit, yeah. Well, don't eat the.
Don't look any more enemies.
I'm everybody's hater so far, if I say. But the thin line. Nick Walker is not arrogant. He is confident, and I could see this from the first moment. That's Jim Dragon's Lair. I mean, I felt it. He was going against Big Ramy, and he said, "I'm going to beat Big Ramy." You know, and he ended up beating him, right? But Ramy ended up 5th, and he was 3rd. You know, and that was all confidence. Now, he's bringing something on the stage. When he brought Arnold Classic, what was it? First year, 2021?
Yeah, 21.
I was super impressed. This kind of Nick Walker, you know, little improved, he's trouble for everyone. He doesn't have, like I said, you didn't have a pretty aesthetic physique, but you beat everybody, pretty aesthetic physiques like Chris Cormier and Kevin and everybody else, with a combination of everything else. Size, width, shape, condition, right? So you brought it. I would say back in the day, Chris going against you, Chris has a beautiful shape. You out.
I don't think my shape, like we talk about shapes, and I'm going to throw out a couple of names. So they do a lot of comparisons of myself and Nick Walker, but also like Marcus Ruhl was a monster, but was I more shapely than Marcus Ruhl? Was I more shapely than Gunter?
I'm gonna say yes, because your shoulders were so wide and your legs were so big that
even right now and see the 2006 that package.
Even though you might have had a wider waist, you were so big everywhere else that it appeared.
And not just the wider waist, not even so wide, because shoulders are so popping out.
The X frame was still there,
and lateralis, your quads were popping out. So you instantly have that X frame. Constantly control abs, right? And crazy thickness of the arms, shoulders. Yeah. So you have that. You just didn't have a smaller. If you had a smaller waist, then you would be considered.
But you know what though? But remember, when you turn to the side, the waist was flat, so it didn't protrude at all.
Side relax is one of your strongest shots.
Yes.
Actually, I tried a couple of times.
So in my eyes, the more I think about it,
I better not post this one.
The more I think about it, even though when you'd see from the front, it might have appeared wider, as you turned, it was so flat that the illusion made it look like you had the small waist.
Yeah, absolutely. And then actually,
that's back to what we've always said. Transitions matter.
Many of the back shots, right? You made your back, because 2001, when you lost to Ramy, you lost because of the back. You know, and there was
him building the back hurt my waist.
Yeah, possibly.
And you know what hurt my waist the most?
Yeah, what, the bend over rows?
No, the one dumbbell row where I with a 180 pound, and I just, because I remember I was so sore in my obliques the next day. I didn't realize at the time, like if I was smarter now, I would have snuck to more. I used to watch Bedell, and he was doing like 80-pound rows. I'm like, I kind of thought in my head, like, that's really light, you know? But now it makes sense, because I was using a lot of my midsection to pull air instead of using the lat.
Yeah.
Because the way I just was concentrating on, it's a 180. I got to roll it because Dorian Yates did it.
Yeah, that's good. Before we forget, because I just got today a letter from a lawyer. They need some additional information, immigration service. So they need the contract, if it exists in bodybuilding and in Olympia, which it does. So I'm going to say it here, and then I'm going to send all the emails to Olympia promoters and to the Mannion family, right? We need this now in next 2 weeks. We need to send all this information. So please, let's get the contracts. And then secondly, we need to prove that he is
He's not qualified or?
And not yet.
Oh.
So that could be a problem. Yeah. But he was qualified for 3 years, and they just said if any contracts exist. And we have to prove that he is a world-class athlete, which I say, how do you prove now when there's no magazines, there's only social media? So apparently, Immigration Service is not familiar with bodybuilding, and they don't know the elite level that the Cruz is already in. So that's two things that we need to produce in the next 2 weeks. So we get those letter from Jay Cutler.
No, that's why we said this off the camera. Getting letters from known people. You know, the Olympia obviously is the Pinnacle on a letter from Arnold's team. Letters from people that are known, like a Jay or other Mr. Olympia winners that these people may be familiar with. That makes a difference.
Yeah. So can you do it?
Of course, yeah.
Of course.
There you go. Whatever you need. Yeah.
And we're out. Is that it?
That's it. So anything else you want to add?
No, that's it. Good.
Are you training today or?
I hopefully I trained last night with Sean got late. I'm probably going to train today also.
Well, we will be back for what's the next show?
Yeah, just okay.
That's for Pro.
To close on this one, you were asking about Martin and Derek and Nick, right? I do think that Derek is absolute favorite.
I understand that, but
and I do too that Nick can overpower Martin.
He looks improved.
Who? Martin?
Both.
Yeah.
Both.
But Martin is, I like how Nick is looking.
Martin is top 4 Olympian.
I haven't seen Martin, but I see Nick.
Yeah.
And I like what Nick's bringing right now.
Yeah. I think his legs.
I'm rooting for him. Yeah, I'm rooting for him, but I'm also rooting for Mark. I root for all these guys. But but Nick, when I see Nick, I want to see Nick shut some people up. He's hard not to root for.
Yes. Okay. Me too. So, okay. The Derek being first favorite, right? It is. Yep. You think that Derek is first favorite to win the Olympia, right?
Yeah, I do, yeah.
Okay. It's coming from you.
I do. And that's not to discredit anyone, but it's kind of like, what has he done for me lately? I mean, we don't know what Hottie, so it can look like it does. If he would have been in the mix, Arnold cost.
If.
But Derek, I think, is getting that
Maturity.
You know.
He's getting it through here, which he didn't have when he before.
That's what he didn't have if he produced it.
I mean, our base is already
it's already sunk in, too.
He's big as out.
Pound for pound per square inch, he's a monster. Yeah.
He's big.
And probably width for a height,
very wide.
The width is the most extreme.
If Hottie looks like he did at the last Arnold and Derek looks like he did this Arnold, the big guys are in trouble.
Okay. If you compare this to Arnold?
No, but Derek's already better than this Arnold. So
yeah.
But somebody asked me about this. I said, Hottie from...
I still think...
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't know, man. I hope, you know what? I hope we see it at the Olympia.
Derek's leg was good from the side, this Arnold, too.
Yes.
I think his legs are better, so...
And, yeah, okay. The question is, okay, when you say arrogance or confidence. So let's say now we have a Hottie and Derek. Ask them both, who is better? They're going to both believe that they're better than the other.
You know what? If
you can't say
there's no one better, it's who's going to show up that day.
Yep.
Didn't say the same thing.
You know what?
There's a lot of
they both have proven that they can be the best bodybuilder on the stage.
There's really leaps and bounds. There's no Ronnie Coleman or Phil Heath in this.
The only way you're going to see a Ronnie or Phil is if Samson or Andrew come in condition like Hottie and Derek.
That's
then it's a problem.
I made a statement in the beginning. If Andrew and Samson can, come close to the condition
problems, yeah.
Then the number 1 and 2. Yeah.
Until it happens. If the queen had balls, she'd be the king.
All right. Yeah, you have a busy